read the. You almost just listening. And I was like.
No, it's not to me.
Oh, I thought it was starting. Well, how's it going?
Welcome to the PRTC.
Once more.
Here, they are.
My second year.
I know.
So.
Hopefully they have some good leads. He did tell me that.
So. Are you?
She's like.
Oh, yeah, he is.
You impressed? Maybe not impressed. We have to have those here. I do read all kinds of change. They don't want to suffocate by your face.
All right. So it's good. She liked it.
And a lot of times people think, oh, it's only gonna be a little bit. There's a fire department.
Yeah, just the case. You know about the news yesterday of
That.
What?
When I ran targeted stuff. It was all over New York news. My parents on the news, you're like, he got like, yeah, everyone thought that whole world.
So that'll be it.
Right, yeah.
The connection stuff.
Emergency. And then in the last case, so
You know, they don't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
cards, dice.
Our water has I know you did. Thank you. Sharon, is this your coach coming up?
No, there's one over.
He's over there by Jeremy too. Well, no, Jeremy has so much to decide about the site.
No.
Right.
We have.
Expense of having water.
No, actually, I think yes. It's so weird, right?
Well, we need to get some fresh water, like maybe I don't know. But it's not finding it or not.
Or so.
So it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right now, seniors, it's a Wednesday.
See?
They were meeting
So it's
on Thursday now.
Am I good? You good?
Yes.
All right. Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So we are now going to convene for the Thursday, December 5th at 7 on the dot, 7 o'clock for our meeting. 7:01. Okay, 7:01. Okay. So we're going right to vote participants. Commissioner Deborah Frazier of Spotsylvania and Delegate Josh Thomas of the Virginia House of Delegates have asked to participate remotely in tonight's meeting. So we'll start with Commissioner Frazier. Is she online? Are you online with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so can you state your location and reason for your remote participation?
I am in Spotsylvania and I am with my granddaughter tonight.
Okay, and Commissioner Thomas, if you were with us, if you could do the same.
I am in Prince William County and I am providing childcare.
All right, thank you. I'll need a motion. We
Second.
have a motion, we have a second, we're properly seconded. Any discussion, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and online, Commissioner Frazier, can I get a vote from you? Commissioner Frazier, if you could simply say yes or no, please. All right, Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
All right, so Commissioner Frazier, are you there?
Yes, I.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, and that motion passes. Okay. Mr. Byron Lloyd, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. How's everybody tonight?
Great, great.
Cold. But we're in the holiday season, so I'm giving you guys a couple things. Make sure to protect your packages this year. For some reason this year, it seems like it's a little worse with people snatching packages, happened to me and my family. So make sure that you are having delivery alerts, so you're at home or somebody's at home. Let your neighbors know, you know, you might have a delivery so they can get that delivery and take it inside. And then make sure that if you can't do any of that, then you use Amazon lockers, things like that, so it's protected. Also, a lot of us might travel, so make sure you secure your homes this traveling season by using timers for your lights, halting mail deliveries, and ensuring all windows and doors are locked. And of course, do not share your stuff online. A lot of people like taking those pictures and saying, hey, I'm about to leave. Don't do that, please. Don't do that. Beware of scams. You know, the online scammers are at an all-time high during the season. So make sure you verify any deals that you're looking at and phishing attempts to protect your information. Going along with that, online safety, make sure that you don't use, if you're gonna shop online, make sure it's a trusted site and a verified establishment, and make sure that you do not use public Wi-Fi. Lastly, your lights, when your decorations go up, make sure you inspect the lights for any damage, preventing any electrical fires, avoiding any open levels of outlets. So I know we won't see each other again, well, we might, but have happy holidays and thank you all.
All right. Thanks a lot, Byron. Okay, if we can stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Ms. Christina, do you want to call the roll?
Victor Angry,
Here.
Andrew Bailey, Kenny Bodie,
Here.
Margaret Franklin. Here. Tom Gordy, Bob Weir,
Here.
Chandra Jefferson, Karen Mills, Idris O'Connor, Kim Short, Yesley Vega, Tanisha Allen.
Here.
Monica Gary. Meg Bumpke. Pamela Young.
Here.
Pamela Sabeski.
Here.
Ralph Smith.
Here.
Jeanette Rischel.
Here.
Alana Mensing, Daryl Moore, Janan Holmes. Here. Will McIntosh, Deborah Frazier,
Here.
Lori Hayes, Jacob Lane, Kevin Marshall, Tiffany Robinson, Todd Horsley.
Here.
Rosia Henson, Josh Thomas,
Here.
and Jeremy McPike.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Bowie, second.
The time between Alan.
Yeah, okay, we'll go Commissioner Gary. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Hearing none. Motion passed. All right. So I need a motion to approve minutes, November 7th.
Second.
Got a motion, Commissioner Allen, second Commissioner Bodie. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Do I need to get them online?
Yeah, we need to
Okay.
include them in a.
Yeah, let me apologize here. Commissioner Frazier, can I get your vote on that was the agenda? What was the first one? The agenda, yes.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And now I'll just ask for your vote again for the approval of the minutes, starting with you, Commissioner Frazier,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Okay, and now, all those in favor of the body?
Aye.
Any opposed? I have a couple of abstentions, so three, we have three abstentions here.
Mills, Allen, and
Just two, okay, two abstentions, all right. Thank you all, the ayes have it. And now, Mr. Dalton, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, commissioners. We will, let's see, okay. You do have the CEO report in your packet. I'll just a couple of updates there for the month of November. Our system performance was 80%. From an overall ridership standpoint, of course, the month of November is typically a lower month for us, specifically for the Thanksgiving holiday and stuff. Total ridership about 110,000. about 850 average daily riders off or lower there. Another just couple of quick things. We did once again have a very successful turnout in terms of sales for our Santa Train tickets, which is December 14th. So all the public tickets have been sold. And then finally, just make folks aware, the Fredericksburg Holiday Parade, December 7th, VRE for the second time in a row will bring our soon-to-be award-winning float to that event. So we're looking forward to that. That, Mr. Chairman, that is my report. We do have some other items to go through there as well.
Yes. Any questions, comments?
We're excited about the parade.
Okay.
And the float.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Okay, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll, if you concur, what I'll do is I'll go through these action items, quick summary, and then I believe you guys will take a block vote on those.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 6.2, this is the acceptance of the Virginia Railway Express fiscal year 2024 audited financial statements and auditors report. Again, in your packet, you have the all the information there. Just the auditors did render an unmodified opinion. For 6.3, seeking authorization to submit a VRE application to the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission I-95-395 commuter choice 2026-2027 program. The two projects that we have there is the Brook Station and Leland Road Station station improvement projects. We do have some funding already allocated for both of those projects, but this application seeks an amount to fill the remaining gap in those two programs. So once again, you would just give me authorization to go submit the application and then run it through the process. And then 6.4, we're seeking approval of our 2025 VRE legislative agenda. Again, you have that agenda in your packet. Glad to answer any questions on that if we need to. And then that's it.
All right. So what we're going to do is bundle these three action items here, and then we're going to have to go to a roll call vote for the to authorize closed session. So if I can get a motion for items 6.2, 6.3, and 6.4.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion, Commissioner Franklin. Second, Commissioner Allen. Yes. Any discussion? None. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Oh, there we go. Commissioner Brady, who we have?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
And Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, that motion passes. Now, if I can get a motion to item 6.5, which is authorize a closed meeting section here.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, I'm sorry.
if I could,
Yes.
could I amend that for just what I'd like to do here is we do have an update to our budget, and in your packet, we do have an information item that we went over with the operations board at their last meeting. This is an even more condensed version of that. So I have Mr. Schofield here, our chief financial officer, just would like to touch on a couple of points here. There's 4 slides. If we could do that before we go into closed
Yeah,
session.
so we're gonna take care of the budget piece first, and then we'll go into closed session for this. So thank you for that. Yeah, so you got about 4 slides? Yes, sir. All right.
There we go. They've been advanced.
Thanks.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, commission members. We are coming into the home stretch of VRE's FY26 budget process. We'll be coming to the operations board later this month to present our proposed budget. Hopefully they will then recommend it to you. We'll be back in front of you in January, hopefully again to get your approval. Just to talk very briefly about the operating budget and the capital budget and a couple of key things. The budget that we proposed in September is approximately $118 million for operations, maintenance, and debt. We have a few tweaks that we're nailing down right now, but we expect it to come in right about that number or slightly lower when we come to you in January. This number is down a little bit from our budget in the current year due to one of our debt payments on our rail cars going away. And then as we've been talking about, the changes due to VPRA's purchase of the Manassas line and us no longer having to pay access to NS. The budget continues to provide the resources necessary to start up the new Saturday train service. And sort of the two key policy decisions that we've spent a lot of time talking about, and I'll talk a little more about this. Right now, the budget does not include a proposed increase to the passenger fares for 26. This is after an increase of 5% in the current year. And then we're proposing an increase in the jurisdictional contribution of approximately 8% up to 19.8 million. That's the operating budget. Our capital improvement program is still going to be a little bit over $1 billion over the 6 years. It's really become a very dynamic program after years in the past where we were doing a lot of planning and a lot of engineering, but things hadn't really moved into construction. We've completed 3 large projects recently: the Lou, Quantico, and the Fredericksburg station. I know a number of you have been at the ribbon cuttings for those really great projects. Those are going to drop out of the program. We also have all the excitement around the Manassas line, the property acquisitions that VRE is going to be doing there. We have about a dozen sort of big ongoing projects. That's like the Manassas Park Garage, which is in construction, the rail cars, which are in construction, projects like Crystal City, Franconia, Springfield, which are just about to go into construction, and then ones that are a little bit more down the road, like, you know, Backlake Road, things like that. But those are all of our major projects that you will have seen in the program last year. They'll still be in there this year. Rich just mentioned Brook and Leland. We have a couple. I would classify those as our sort of projects that are in transition. You know, the coming of TRV a couple of years ago really changed a number of the station projects that we had. So those projects are still in this EIP. Just a question of exactly when they're going to happen and exactly what they're going to look like. Because this is a 6-year program, we do have out-year projects. That's largely rolling stock that we're looking at for expansion of capacity and also adding in some new crossovers on the Manassas line that will really add a lot of operational flexibility. And then last but not least, our ongoing asset management programs, equipment asset management, facilities asset management, and then all the investments that we have to make in information technology. So what we've been talking about with the operations board a lot recently is the results of the master agreements survey that we did back in October. Just to note here, the ridership by jurisdiction is relatively steady, but 2 things in particular. One, Stafford County has dipped below the threshold to have 2 board members on the operations board, so they will be going down to 1. And then both Fairfax and Spotsylvania, kind of at the 2 ends, have seen ridership recovery in the last 12 months. It's a little stronger than the other jurisdictions, so that has kind of increased their share of the subsidy. I think it's kind of 2 different reasons. I think the recovery had been very slow previously in Fairfax County, and they're kind of catching up. Whereas I think Spotsylvania is really seeing a continued development of new housing, new citizens and new riders for VRE. We are still sort of trying to make those last minute balances between increasing the fare, changing the contribution of the jurisdictions, and how much then do we end up using on the pandemic relief. As we said, we don't have an increase in there for next year, but it's something that the operations board is still asking us to weigh and give them some information on. It is true that our, during the pandemic, that our increases in the fares kind of lagged behind inflation. You could do an increase next year. I think the board is, I don't want to prejudge the operations board. It sounds like they may take kind of a wait and see kind of approach. And that is the kind of thing that we could do outside of the budget adoption if it looks like, the environment isn't there for it. So I'd be happy to take questions, but thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. Any questions, comments? Okay, hearing none.
Now we'll go back. Back to 6.5 there, Mr. Chair.
There we go.
Mr. Chairman, the board needs to pass a motion to go into closed meeting for discussion of a personnel matter concerning performance evaluations and contracts of the Virginia Railway Express Chief Executive Officer and General Counsel and Chief Legal Officer pursuant to 2.2-3711A1. Those discussions may occur in closed meeting. And we will need a roll call vote.
Thank you, ma'am.
Motion authorized, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion, Commissioner Bodie, second, Commissioner Gary. Any discussion? Hearing none. Commissioner Frazier,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
and
We need to
there
do
you
a roll
go.
call vote.
Okay, so I got those two for you. All right.
Victor Angry.
Aye.
Kenny Bodie.
Aye.
Margaret Franklin.
Aye.
Bob Weir.
Aye.
Karen Mills.
Aye.
Tanisha Allen.
Aye.
Monica Gary.
Aye.
Pamela Sadowski.
Aye.
Jeanette Richel.
Here.
Shannon Holmes.
Aye.
Deborah Frazier.
Yes.
Aye.
Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Delegate Thomas.
Aye.
Senator McPike.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, that motion is approved.
All right, thank you. So we take a couple of minutes to clear the room.
Yes, please give us a few minutes. IT will stop live streaming the meeting and we are going to place a conference call to our two commissioners who are participating remotely.
Thank you. Okay, folks, we're back. So I need a motion to certify closed meeting. Got a motion, Commissioner Allen, second Commissioner Bodie. Any discussion, hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Getting online first.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Frazier? I think I heard aye.
Sorry,
Was
we
it
need a
again?
roll call on that.
Oh.
Yes.
We have a roll call? Oh, I'm sorry, we got a roll call. I
I'm
stand
sorry,
corrected.
then aye.
Victor Angry.
Aye.
Kenny Bodie.
Aye.
Margaret Franklin. Bob Weir.
Aye.
Karen Mills. Tanisha Allen.
Aye.
Monica Gary. Pamela Sabeski.
Aye.
Jeanette Richel.
Yes.
Shannon Holmes. Deborah Frazier.
Yes.
I said aye.
Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Josh Thomas.
Aye.
Jeremy McCreight.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, that motion is approved.
Thank you, ma'am. So now I need a motion for the action item here. Second Amendment to Employment Agreement of Virginia Railway Express General Counsel.
Roll call, please.
But can I get a motion?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Bodie, second Commissioner Holm. Okay, and this is a roll call as well? Or is this
It's not required, but Commissioner Weir's asked for one.
okay, all right. There we go.
Victor Angry.
Aye.
Kenny Bodie.
Aye.
Margaret Franklin.
Aye.
Bob Weir.
Staying.
Karen Mills. Tanisha Allen.
Abstain.
Monica Gary. Pamela Sabeski. Jeanette Richel.
Yes.
Shannon Holmes.
Yes.
Deborah Frazier.
Aye.
Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Josh Thomas.
Abstain.
Jeremy McCreight.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, that motion's approved.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we're gonna jump right into our 2024 audit. And we have PB, am I saying it right? Mayors, PB Mayors?
PB Mayor.
Mayors, okay, PB Mayors. So this is Mr. Dwight Buraker. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Buraker, okay. Yeah, oh, you actually laid it out. That's awesome. Wow. Yes. All right, sir, the floor is yours.
The presentation that I had available. If
One
not,
moment. We'll swap you out.
You're setting it up now.
We'll swap you out.
You can go about buses for a little bit, that's okay.
all right, well, appreciate the opportunity this evening. I'll try to keep this pretty brief and short. I'm sure you all got a full agenda and don't want to bore you too much with financial information. It's not that exciting sometimes, but. So I'm Dwight Bracker. I serve as the engagement partner for the audit. The other team members, which you'll see here in a moment on the slide, they're actually at MVTC this evening delivering their audit report. We audit PRTC, MVTC, and VRE. So work with all three organizations, and then have with me Ebenezer Alto. He was on the engagement this year and last year. So PRTC, VRE, and MVTC the last couple of years.
No. I never received any slides.
Oh, Joyce, you-
No, I thought you should say.
oh, okay. I thought she had forwarded you the slide, so.
No,
Okay.
sorry.
Not a problem. So, in regards to the financial statements, we audited, for PRTC, there are only several pages that belong to PB Mayors. Those are the opinions. There's 3 opinions, one on the financial statements, one on internal controls, and one over federal compliance. All 3 of those opinions are unmodified, the highest opinion that we can issue as auditors. So, another great year for PRTC there in regards to the audit. Because I don't have the slides up there, I'm not really going to touch on anything within the financials. Hopefully, and everyone had the opportunity to review them, but we don't have anything to report regarding that. So I'll take any questions in regards to the audit.
Have any questions, comments?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Okay, just on GASB standards, I know most organizations have been sort of keeping up with it. Noted a couple of this in the report. PRT seems to be keeping up and modifying as needed with new standards.
Yes, sir. So fortunately, this year, FY24, there were a couple of standards that were adopted, didn't have any impact on PRTC's financials. The last 2 years, we had the lease standard, and then the subscription liabilities and related to subscription assets, things of that nature that you had to book in regards to like. For here, it was their ERP system. You know, we have this ERP system that's an intangible asset. We had to book an asset for that and the liability related with that. This year, no GASBs that were implemented impacted the commission. Next year, the only one that's going to impact the commission relates to GASB 101, compensated absences. There's a new calculation how you have to go about calculating that leave you expect to pay out to employees, whether upon retirement or when they leave. Honestly, it's gonna add a whole lot of work for a whole lot of nothing to the commission. So but other than that, they do a great job staying up to date on the standards. If they do have questions, Joyce, our staff, they contact us to work through those, and they've done a great job implementing those over the past couple of years. So
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, okay. No, you do, okay.
I
go
did.
ahead.
I was trying to find it again on here, but I wrote something down. It was something about, and just be my ignorance. I've read a few of these throughout the year, but there was something about interfund revenue and expenditures not properly reconciled between bus service, member jurisdiction, and rail service. So that kind of sounds like we're.
yeah, so there was one audit adjustment this year that we made, and if you're aware, we have PRTC itself as operating entity, but we also have to report a portion of VRE's financial statements in here.
Yeah.
So there was just a discrepancy between what VRE had recorded and what PRTC had. So once they worked through that, it did result in an audit adjustment, but it had no impact on your overall net position. Like it didn't change, I'll say, your bottom line, but the interfund amounts didn't reconcile. But since then, both organizations, they've put in some mitigating controls to make sure moving forward that won't happen. Some of it's due to some staffing limitations at both VRE and PRTC and some transition there. So nothing of significance. Like I said, it was just interfund related. So,
Okay.
But I think they have the controls in place now to address that moving forward.
Thank you.
That was actually a great question. We had that discussion in executive that, so, yeah, thanks. Any others? Okay, is that it for you, sir?
Yeah, that can.
Going online is Christine, will you?
No, we are sharing, we're trying to get the presentation that was shared for the executive committee up.
Oh, we can bounce through that. Kind of covered a lot of it. There's really not more in the presentation. It discussed, there's another report we issued, SAS report, our required communication with governance, just indicating, there was no disagreement with management. Management was prepared on time, ready for the audit, things of that nature. We're required to communicate every year with the.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner.
Chairman, indirect costs, can you speak on that?
So PRTC, they haven't adopted an indirect cost that you may see at other organizations. They use the de minimis that the federal government allows a 10% to determine that indirect cost. So we don't have like an indirect cost program or plan here. They just use the 10% that's allowed by the federal FTA for when they're allocating overhead and stuff to their grants. So and that's actually going to change in a year or two to 15%, but we don't have like an indirect cost like plan or program that you may see in other organizations.
So where does that fall under? Like, does it skew your data?
No, so that's just part of like when they submit for reimbursement from the federal government, things of that nature related to their grants. That money's like that percentage is included with those reimbursements with the. So we don't have we could adopt the indirect cost plan if they elected to. We could use right now, the FTA allows for a 10% amount.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. So is that it for you? We're good?
Yeah, unless there's any other questions.
All right, I think we're good on
I
that.
also just want to thank Joyce, her staff, Lutundra, Phil, they do a great job. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, budget. all the other items that they gotta deal with on a daily basis, and they do a great job being fully prepared for us when we come in. So just want to thank them for their hard work too.
All right. Hey, and while we're at it, let's go ahead and recognize Ms. Ebenezer in the back there.
Ebenezer, sir. He's been with us a couple years. Hopefully in another couple years, he's standing here doing what I do. So he's been a great addition to PB Mayor's, and like I said, he works with on all three engagements, both commission, DRE, and also with Virginia Passenger Rail. So we audit that organization too. So we kind of cover the transit
All right.
throughout the state.
Well, thank you both, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Did we? Oh, so I need a motion. I need to
Authorize and accept.
Second.
Commissioner Bodie, second, who's that? Okay, Gary, any discussion?
I just very quickly, just want to commend PRTC for again another year of unmodified opinion. Obviously, there was a little discrepancy there with people at VRE, but it sounds like you guys have worked through it. So just wanted to again commend you all on another year of unmodified.
Thanks. Anybody else? We're good? Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Going online, Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Fraser?
Aye. Did you hear me? I said aye. Uh-oh. What happened?
Is it? What kind of cake? So much for
Well, I didn't get to be here last time, so I'm just making up for lost time. We had a meeting.
I can see everything on the way.
Wait, the next was from.
She's a six.
I'm borderline baby boomer.
Oh,
I'm
you're baby boomer.
65.
Hello.
I'm borderline baby boomer.
Yeah, so.
Oh, you're Gen X.
Gen
I'm
X.
Gen X.
You're Gen X, I'm Gen X. Mr. Thomas, can you hear us? Excuse me. Commissioner Thomas, can you hear us?
My mom is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, we got him back.
Ms. Frazier, can you hear us?
yes, I can.
She said yeah.
I can't hear.
She said yeah. No, I heard her up there. She said yeah.
Oh,
Yes, hello. Yes, I can.
Commissioner Thomas, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
So I guess it's not loud enough.
That's her. Okay.
So we can just take those two votes. We can pick up from there and then move on to executive director time.
Jim, you're never going back.
Yes.
Okay, we're back in the game. So you wanna call?
We were in the middle of a vote and everyone here had given their approval for the consent agenda. And we were asking our remote participants for their vote.
So Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Frazier,
Aye.
awesome, outstanding. Thank you both very much. And now we're moving on to executive director time.
Yes,
Dr.
long meeting, so for brevity's sake. First of all, follow-up meetings, or follow-up items from previous meetings. Senator Pike, we're still gathering data. You asked some questions from Transurban. We're trying to get some information from them. Our planning staff is still working through that. We'll continue to follow up and get that information for you. Our preliminary ridership for November, just like VRE had a dip, but we were at 165,000 passengers for the month of November. Very, very good ridership, very happy with that. We did see our dip from October to November. Again, we had Thanksgiving loss, we had Veterans Day, went down about 4% from October to November. So really, really good ridership. Top ridership for the I-95 corridor was Route 971. Dale City State Department with over 10,000 riders. And of course, from the I-66 corridor, which is just bursting at the seams, Gainesville, Pentagon to Navy Yard. Prince William Metro Express continues to be a very strong route for us. What's interesting is it has exploded because of the rerouting we did with our service change for local. It's picked up a ton of local ridership. So it was always utilized to get to the metro station. It has now picked up a lot of traffic along Route 1, et cetera. And for the total for the month, it was just shy of 18,000. So absolutely fantastic. Local ridership, again, booming. Top ridership for our local buses was Route 53 Dumfries, which travels between Potomac Mills, Ferlazzo Building to Dumfries, just under 13,000 passengers. In the middle of the day, that only has service every 90 minutes. So we're talking about our top performing route with 45-minute service in the peaks, 90 minutes in the middle of the day. Supervisor Bailey Road, you didn't get to ride on that, unfortunately, but she got the genuine experience of riding the route, had a good time. Really enlightening, I'm sure she got back and talked all about it. Anything you wanted to share? Favorite stories?
Yep, she said to say that she enjoyed it. Her, the chief, and our social media manager went on the ride, enjoyed every moment of it, and she wants to be able to meet with the general manager from Keolis and you actually.
Awesome.
And talk about what the follow-up was.
Good opportunities.
Yes.
And then Route 65 that operates from downtown Manassas to Nova via Manassas Mall at just shy of 7,000 passengers. That's basically double what it was pre-pandemic. So again, continuing to grow. Route 65 from Manassas to, downtown Manassas through Manassas Mall to Nova. Sorry, I said Manassas Mall.
Community College.
Nova Community College out there next to the battlefield. So it goes from downtown all the way through the Ashton corridor.
Yeah.
And then up to.
Bus gets on my nerve every morning, though. It's always crowded.
Reminder, we have the joint legislative meeting in Arlington next Friday, December 13th. Don't worry, you don't have to write this down because we're gonna have all this sent out in our follow-up email. But if you would like to take our bus up there, we have Route 972 that departs the Dale City commuter lot at 6:43 a.m. and arrives at GMU campus about 7:50. Also serves the Telegraph and Horner Road commuter lots. If you have any interest in doing that, Parent will actually meet you there, so you can look for his smiling face in the morning. He'll make sure you climb on board the bus. We'll get you to the right stop and enjoy yourself, and then we'll make arrangements, of course, to get you back. If we don't have any interest in that, that's okay. You can, of course, ride Metro if you want to have that fun experience. So you can head up to the Springfield station and you would just exit at Virginia Square. Again, we'll send you all that information. Our goal is to get a sense of that by next Wednesday, just so that we can make sure we have preparations for whoever's going up. Parent knows who to look for, and we can arrange transportation for the number back on the way back. We do have on Monday our first services rolling out of Front Royal and Warrenton. Thank you again, DRPT, for that opportunity to do it. 100% state funded service and tons of outreach in terms of doing that with our passengers out at the university lot. We're very excited because, as mentioned, we're busting at the seams in terms of our existing routes for our service into the State Department out of the university lot, as well as Gainesville. So these new trips actually increase the number of trips. So customers are excited about that, but they're nervous that the ridership is going to be so full out of Front Royal and Warrenton, they still won't have seats. So even though there's more, there's still fear there won't be enough seats. That's how much ridership demand there is. But we think we'll be in good shape. We'll still have our strategic buses. But also what happens on Monday is we migrate from using this front area as our core transfer point over to the Neabsco garage right over by Stonebridge. That's a really, really, really big deal in that we've been dragging buses over the bridge off of Route 1 across I-95. And reminder, when you go home tonight, there's only two ways you can go. You can go straight down here past the Potomac Mills Road area, or you can go up Telegraph. Right. And what you will not see is you will not see a single sidewalk and you will not see a single safety streetlight. And passengers have been walking here for years. And now for the first time, we are actually close to retail. We are close to jobs. There are sidewalks. We are close to civilization. Yes. Yeah. And so from a efficiency standpoint, from an access standpoint, we know there's going to be a little bit of frustration that we don't have the amenities that we built up here over the years. So that's something we'll work with the county on over time. We have to figure out what we can do, but we at least have something that's a little bit more in terms of as a transfer point. And now that we have a lot more time transfers, we don't have people waiting as long. So we're really excited about that. And that all happens on Monday. But on Wednesday, we have a ribbon cutting. And just a reminder, that's at the university lot, December 11th at 11 o'clock. So we look forward to those of you who can join us there. So those are all very important things that are occurring just in the next 7 days. Those are the core key highlights, Mr. Wingfield.
Good evening, commissioners. I'm angry. Happy to report another strong month of performance in operations. Also want to say thank you for Commissioner Bailey stopping by and visiting. We look forward to seeing her. That's it. I'll move on into the report. In terms of missed trips, our first month, I think since with the contract, we had 0 missed trips. Huge accomplishment, but we're looking forward to December, the new service change. Last board meeting pointed your attention to June and December. December, we had an uptick in missed trips. June and July, we offered new service, and the service change that produced some missed trips as we work to meet our staffing numbers. So we're looking to break those records come December when we come back to report in January. Vehicle availability is at target for November, actually above target. And miles between service interruptions that are record high too. So it just speaks to our reliability. Senator McPike, you asked about some of the, I think it's kind of industry standards on what we're looking at. Industry standard for miles between service interruptions is labeled as miles between roll calls. And typically what you see is agencies set that around 5,000 and up. And so at 34,000, we're doing pretty good.
that said, I'd like to, sorry. With that said, before I open the floor for questions, I know my team is listening and they're on the line and they dial in regularly. So I want to thank them while I'm in front of you all, because without them, none of these accomplishments are possible, and they work tirelessly to make sure I can come up here and present these numbers. And they're very proud of the work they do. So I just want to recognize them. And with that said, I'll open the floor.
Well, let me just thank you for that, because this is significantly different from what we had. So that's just kudos to your team. So I'll even give. Yeah. So any questions, comments? Hearing none. Oh, did somebody? Did you? Okay, I didn't see it. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just wanted to know, nice KPIs and everything. I see 2023, 2024. Have you compared it to 2021 before COVID to see what percentage of increase and where we are back to normal? Not.
No, I have looked at those numbers. We do see those, but what happens is if I put it on the chart, it starts
Those
to
get
get.
too small.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
But if you'd like to see those, I'd be happy to.
It'd be nice to know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because one of the keys to this is, I remember in 2019, we had this vision. I think I said this before too, Groundhog Day, but we had this vision of where PRTC was going, and then COVID hit. And for the last like 3-4 years, we've really been trying to get back. So I do truly see and believe that we are back to those, and then Bob just said that a little bit, that we're back to those pre-COVID numbers, where the world was just great. So, I mean, I think that's a great question, just to see what that looked like in 2019 to where we are now, which I think is going to be amazing. But so I'll stop there. And now it's back to you, because you got the show, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We do have the article. Again, it's a long meeting, so we'll just let you enjoy that on your own. It just gives an example of some of the different opportunities, and we'll refer from there to Mr. Perella, or back to you, I should say, so we'll get to the budget presentation.
Yes. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. So we've started with this slide, every month here, but this has been a pretty, I'll say, long discussion, but we've had numerous discussions about the budget. I will start off, as I have in previous meetings, thanking the budget committee who's allowed us to have these discussions, in a smaller group, vet this information. They've added valuable input. We've made changes based on their input in every one of our presentations. If you recall, we did the revenue discussion in October, expense discussion November, and now here we are in December. And basically what we're presenting here is some of the revenue options like fares and advertising, which we have discussed, that are in our control. Some of the things we would look at if we needed to reduce services in order to balance our budget, as well as some restoration and improvement options that are out there. They're not included in the budget, but things that have been asked about and things that we've been asked to look into. What I do want to stress and make a point of is and I've said this a bunch of times in other presentations, this is a no surprises carry forward budget. What we said fiscal 26 was going to look like when we did the fiscal 25 budget is what we're presenting here. I think we're going to find some good news. You'll hopefully find some good news from where we had presented our baseline figures that we discussed in October, November. So with that, I'm going to get right into it. When we started our discussion, the baseline budget, again, we presented this in fiscal 25. We had about a $12 million deficit. As we present now, we're at about a $9.6 million deficit. If you recall, last year, we had asked Prince William County to fund roughly $10 million in deficit. So we're coming in even a little bit better than that this fiscal year, which we're really happy about. The reason we're able to do that is that there's some positive movements in fuel tax earnings, as well as cost containment and utilization of carryover funds. What we want to really also stress here is that all jurisdictional requests for the fiscal 26 budget are less than what we asked for or what you said to be in 25, and they're lower than what the baseline figures are. So we really, again, no surprise budget, bringing forth same service levels and really trying to meet the expectations that we've laid out and have a nice, a nice steady flow for our finances for the organization. Some of the things, just to touch on some items that are included and are not included. We've discussed quite a few times the Warrenton and Front Royal service. We're using those in conjunction with the 611 and 612. That is, again, has been discussed.
We are able to restore a total of 9 trips, which has been discussed quite a bit previously when they were moved, that, you know, these would be the first ones to come back in if we were able to fund them in the budget. So there are those 9 trips that are included. And the commission may remember, I believe it was a month or two ago, where we agreed to remove the 618 service to Reston. It was just being underutilized. That was fully grant funded service, but we agreed to discontinue that service. We will be walking through revenue options of what it could look like for local fare and bus advertising revenue, but I just want to make the point, as the budget stands today, they are not included in the figures. But there will certainly be part of the discussion moving forward as we hopefully take the budget from here to the jurisdiction. So moving on to the operating revenue side, the big thing to point out here, is the revenue issue that we have here. Please note that the deficit is considered unfunded as it is shown here, and that is the star piece for the Prince William County portion. We will show what it looks like if the funding is included later on in this presentation. But generally speaking, the budget is about what we laid out. There is a little bit of passenger revenue decrease as well as state grant decrease. A lot of that has to do with state funded routes, and it is impacting money or not impacting customer revenue funds that would be credited back to jurisdictional funds. So it is really related to those grant related services that would have been credited to them and are really a wash on the bottom line. On the operating expense side, the big thing to point out here really is the bus service contract. Again, there's been a variety of service reductions, not enhancements, but reductions, efficiencies, changes, cost containment, all sorts of things that have helped us actually show a decrease in the bus service contract this year. That is really what is driving the overall change in the budget. But you can see we're asking for operating expenses less than what we were asking for last year. The other thing I would point out on this slide is the fuel number. Until we really have a good feel for whether or not we will fund these full service levels or what levels we will fund, I'm unable to lock in fuel prices because I don't want to buy more than we would potentially end up using and have to take delivery of that. So right now we are budgeted at $325. But if I were able to lock in today, we could save almost $1 million total. About $550,000 of that would be credited back to the jurisdictions. We do that through futures pricing and looking at a year in advance. Right now, those numbers are in the 260, 250 range that we'd be able to capitalize on. But again, not knowing how we're going to balance the budget, it's very hard to commit to taking that fuel delivery and to accepting all that fuel. Again, without understanding that. So as we move along in the process, like we did last year, when we get a little more certainty about what the budget's going to look like, we'll look to lock in those prices. On the capital budget side, this is, again, we talk about this, but what you would expect from us, we buy buses. It's pretty much what we're doing. This particular budget is 5 commuter buses, 3 local buses, and then 1 bus that will be used interchangeably between paratransit and microtransit, or 1 van, pardon me, that will be used interchangeably between paratransit and microtransit services. But pretty standard budget for us on the capital side. The jurisdictional subsidy piece, as you see here, this does include funding of the $9.5 million deficit, again, for illustration purposes. But what we really want to walk through here is the process where you see when we submitted the fiscal 25 budget, those were what our figures were. When we had started these discussions, back in September, that was what our baseline was for the jurisdictional subsidy. And then you see where we are now with the jurisdictional subsidy. So, we're happy that, things have gotten better from a cost containment perspective. New vehicles coming into the organization, really helping out with the maintenance cost side of things. And so, really, as good news as you can have in terms of the overall trajectory of the jurisdictional subsidy as it relates to the organization. Specifically on the Prince William County breakout side of things, again, this walks through the same sort of projection. You'll see the grantor's tax, the transient occupancy tax, and the general fund. That was the $10 million that we've used to help balance the budget at the end of the fiscal year. When we presented the baseline, we didn't know what type of additional funds we would have, so we were simply projecting what the fuel tax earnings are. And then as we move into this budget, we have several things that we can include in here. One is that there was some carryover funds from fiscal 24 that we'll be able to bring into this budget from the motor fuels tax. And 2, the motor fuels tax has already started this fiscal year doing quite well, actually. The first 2 months have been well over budget, in particular for Prince William County, and that has allowed for the projections to change for what the motor fuels tax will be moving forward. So we've included those funds in here, as well as in our fiscal 25 projections. This is all very fluid stuff here, but as the year progresses, we'll certainly get into that more. But very positive news on the motor fuels tax. in particular, because it has been a steady, even declining revenue source. So now we're going to get into some of the revenue options that are under the control of this commission. And we've talked about bus advertising as something that came up. So we wanted to provide an illustration of what that could look like in the budget. We basically factored in the last time we did bus advertising and what our billings were for that and what the cost was to do that. We assumed about a 35% increase from the prior arrangement. It's really just inflationary figures. If we were to go down this path, we'll obviously tighten that stuff up a little bit more. But you can see what we might project here. There are additional considerations that have been discussed a little bit here, and in fact, after I'm sort of done, that we'll get into a little bit more on the bus advertising piece of things. But there is issues related to the policy. What is allowed to be advertised? What do you want to see advertised? As well as what the OmniRide, what it does to the OmniRide brand. And again, we're going to touch on that with some more slides, after this part of the presentation. But you can see we'd be looking at, roughly $250,000 in potential revenue, give or take after we work through things. On the local fare piece, this is a little bit more complicated because we have not taken cash at a fare box in a very long time. But when you institute a fare, we're assuming $2 here. And, with that, we have to assume that there'd be some level of ridership reduction. You can estimate anywhere between 10 and 30%. Those are the things that happen when you institute a fare or increase a fare. For illustration purposes, we use a 20% figure here. We also assumed about 30% of our passengers would be eligible for half fare, which would reduce, again, the portion that they would pay. This does not include things like the pass program utilization. As you know, on our commuter routes, we offer a monthly pass. We would probably do something similar here, and that reduces your per trip revenue. You also doesn't include, what would happen for county and city departments that perhaps they have to include a transportation expense now in their budget for the various folks who utilize their services. And this also does not include one-time fare box startup costs, which again, there's something called the trim unit, which accepts the dollar bill and reads a dollar bill. Those are really sort of the challenging piece of a fare box. We don't really know that would be, but there would be some cost tied to that. We also had discussions with the state that we want to point out that were we to lose a 20% ridership number, we'd be looking at about a $500,000 decrease in our state revenue. As you can see, probably about every 10% ridership decrease is roughly about $250,000 in state revenue decrease. And there would also be staffing issues. We need people to count cash for us. We need to hire armored car service. We need to have ongoing fare box parts and whatnot. So again, we could certainly get into whether it should be 10% or 20% reduction or what you raise the fare to. But for illustration purposes, we just wanted to show what it could look like here. And the additional revenue could be somewhere in the neighborhood of $125,000. The other things that we have under our control is what we did at last fiscal year. And this is where we look at services. And so if you may recall, we looked at everything in 3 buckets. And the first bucket was 100% state funded service. And last year, the commission chose not to prioritize those for reduction because they don't save the jurisdictions any money. So there was no point in looking at those. But these are listed here again. So I'm laying this out in the same type of prioritization manner that we did last year. But the commission could certainly choose to look at these things differently. That is their prerogative to do so, but laying it out again like we did last year. So this first grouping here, 100% grant funded. These are commuter and express services. The next grouping was 100% locally funded services that are also local services. These are the lifeline services. This is basically was chosen not to be prioritized last year because it was recognized that the folks that utilize this probably don't have many other options for their transportation needs. And so the commission chose not to look at these when making reductions. And so, again, it's prioritized that way today as it is today, but, moving forward, those discussions will go on. And then looking at the last grouping, this is where the commission did choose to prioritize making reductions when necessary to help balance the budget. And this is express and commuter routes that are locally and state funded. And the purpose of all this stuff and what we're laying out here is basically just get very clear, what does a route cost, who pays for it, how is it being utilized, so an informed decision can be made on what it is that we want to do, should we choose to go down this route for balancing budget. There will be this information all gets sent out. And again, I remind you, this is really just, we're asking the commission tonight to advance this to jurisdictions for further discussion, not to approve a budget. But these are the sorts of things that will be discussed with lots of jurisdictional staff as we go through this process and try to determine how we're going to balance the budget. And then we did talk about potential service enhancements. I just want to be clear, these are not included in the budget now, but we have been asked, what type of things could you do? What would you do? There's some express route enhancements here, lots of local service enhancements, and then some micro transit illustrations. I want to make sure it's clear, these micro transit numbers here are maximums. They are, if we did the full bore level of service, but it is all scalable. So it can certainly be adjusted based on how we felt like we wanted to deliver the service, and all that stuff is up for discussion. But, you know, some commission members had expressed wanting to see, well, what things could happen if more money appeared? So we wanted to have a list of, these are the next things that we would look at doing. And so again, those are there for the discussion, but they are not included in the budget proposal today. These are mostly for illustration purposes today and to spark future discussion. So with that, I'm going to kind of bounce off of the financial issues and turn it over, I think Sharon and Bob are going to hop in now to discuss a little bit further on the bus advertising issue here. And I can certainly do the clicking if you would.
You're first.
First, Bob, with
You go
pictures,
first.
okay, I'll do the
You're up
first
first.
part. I'm gonna skip this one,
I'm sorry, just say that one more
Do we
time.
want to segment this into budget and then legal for question purposes, or do you want to?
It's, what do you guys think?
And this part of budget?
Yeah, you're getting ready to talk about budget is,
We can do budget questions, please.
you wanna go ahead? You got a question about it?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
If you could go back to the Prince William County subsidy breakout, the nuance I want to fleshed out.
Yes, sir.
Fuel tax balance carryover FY 2026 proposed, where's that number coming from?
That is made up of several factors. One of it was going to be, we had an operating surplus of $1.3 million in fiscal '24. Motor fuels tax revenue actually came in a little bit under budget in '24, so that is part of that net. As now what we're seeing though also is that fiscal '25 fuels tax revenues are through the roof. The first month was actually 400,000 over budget for Prince William County. So that has now changed our projections moving forward. So that is what makes up that $1.6 million. And then the little bit of an increase that you see as well in the fiscal '26 is carrying those projections into the fiscal '26 year.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, Commissioner Thomas, Commissioner Frazier, if you have a question or comment or question, I should say, now's the time to chime in.
I'm good.
You good? Okay,
I've seen I was on the budget committee.
okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, advertising?
Yes.
PRTC has not allowed bus advertising since 2022. And never advertised on bus shelters, so there are two different aspects of advertising. The 2016 guidelines, which I have looked at, are likely to present legal problems in light of some litigation I'm going to talk to you about that was decided in 2022 in the Fourth Circuit dealing with the Greater Richmond Transit Commission Company. But we would have to revise those guidelines in order to try to comply with what are the court decisions that I would describe as being sort of variable and unpredictable. So I've given you a lot of information about those court decisions, but I want to start with the next to last bullet on this slide, which is this action was prompted by proposed ads that some found offensive. And Bob's got some great pictures. The next slide shows a hypothetical picture, and maybe some people are offended, maybe some people are not. What I will tell you as a lawyer looking at the court decisions is that if somebody was offended, said, we're not going to take your ad and put it on our bus, you are likely to get sued. The predictability about whether you win, I believe, is going to be less than 50%. So you are looking at maybe potential advertising revenue of $255,000. And if you are engaged in First Amendment litigation with the possibility of attorney's fees,
Yeah.
if the other side wins, that is nothing money. Okay? Even my low rates with PRTC, that is nothing money in that type of litigation, which will go through both the federal district court.
Just to clarify, that is. a real
Likely
ad.
then, if you're persistent about not wanting that ad, going up to the Fourth Circuit, and so over a number of years, you would be incurring a lot of legal expenses, which is what GRTC found, with respect to an ad that they denied. You might say, oh, it must have been a horrible ad. Well, actually, it was by McGuire Veterans Administration that wanted to, had been accused by a local group of conducting medical experiments on dogs, and that was horrible. So they wanted to put, that local group wanted to put an ad on a bus, GRTC bus, that targeted McGuire Veterans Hospital. And the company said no. The district court found that it was concerned that the policy itself was facially unconstitutional. Means doesn't matter what ad came in, there was a problem with the policy. In addition, there was a problem with the process that the company used in order to determine whether it allowed an ad or not. When it went to the Fourth Circuit, they also found at the Fourth Circuit that policy of no ads from political action groups was facially unconstitutional. So when you look at the possibility of, and the 2016 policy banned political ads, you have a problem just starting there. If you get into the issue of religious advertising, and you may have found or heard about cases that WMATA has had from time to time with various religious groups wanting to put ads on the buses, and WMATA just trying to decide, will it pass muster, will it not pass legal muster? Multiple cases of litigation. One is cited here with respect to exclusion of religious advertising by the Archdiocese of Washington. So we're not talking about maverick groups up there coming into you in what might you say, oh, really, that's not a great group, we don't want to use them. No, we've got groups that are coming in, including, in that case, the Archdiocese. So, upheld WMATA's exclusion of religious advertising in the DC circuit, but when you went to the Third Circuit up in Pennsylvania, no, probably wouldn't have passed muster. So it's a toss-up whether or not a decision to not allow an ad or to take an ad is going to be upheld in the courts. Getting to the same issue with commercial ads, probably getting to the same issue with public service ads. Bottom line, I put it in too small letters. In some, it's complicated and not necessarily predictable, which means your income stream may not be predictable if people don't want to post ads. But if you deny an ad, your revenues have suddenly just collapsed by the legal expenses you incur. So I have, even before I began working with PRTC, I tell you that I have great concern about trying to deal with advertising based on the court's sort of quixotic view of whether they're in favor of First Amendment rights or whether they're going to uphold the action by the entity. So we turn to bus shelters. Next slide. Generally the same issues. However, there are some additional constraints. You could put ads on bus shelters, but they're county authorized ads. So PRTC would have to go to the county in order to be able to determine whether or not the ad can go on there. And then there are a whole host of restrictions. Todd's smiling because with respect to bus shelters that are within a certain number of feet of pavement, you have to go to the Commissioner of Highways in order to be able to do that. Otherwise, you're prohibited. There's limitations on the types of materials you can use, and you can't obstruct vision. And importantly, and something we're trying to work through, many of the current PRTC bus shelters are outdated. And so you're starting negatively, going to the commissioner with respect to putting advertising on bus shelters. So I think that covers the issues, other than the operational ones, which Bob, you're gonna cover, you and Paul, and Phil, and then tell us the pictures.
Yes. So just to clarify, the picture that we have of the ribbon cutting, that was a real ad that we had that was probably circa 2016, 17. We got lots of complaints on that, but yeah, it was an ad that we had to deal with, but that's an example of, we would not be able to deny that ad. So what we did is very recently, Fairfax Connector, they would be our most recent case study. So what we asked Joe to go up and do a site visit to them and just really meet with them. And having done a procurement, I'd say in the last year, they've had some operational buyer's remorse. First of all, the advertising contract and environment is very, very cutthroat and nasty. They ended up having I believe it was a disputed procurement, so it was a protest. They had to go through extensive legal review on that. So again, they have county attorneys, we do not, but in the competitive element of it, hotly contested. So they have now a very complex bureaucratic method. We do not have the complex county staff to deal with all the oversight, responsible, et cetera. Very burdensome when it ended up with the contract requirements. And that's just so it really depletes the revenue that they're bringing in, and they have a much larger fleet. Us comparing WMATA is like comparing a grape to a watermelon. That's comparing a grape to an orange. Technically, Fairfax Connector has the largest transit fleet in all of Virginia. They have a much larger operation. They have much more opportunity. We don't have anywhere near the revenue opportunity. We don't have anywhere near the fleet nor the staff. They've had issues of damage to the fleet by frames. So they've gone frameless. So that means they apply vinyl. Well, now they've also started to pull the vinyl off, which damages the paint. So now they're having to incur costs with the repainting, or if they don't repaint, the vendor fights them. Well, it's not our fault. Your paint is old. Now they're having to bicker back and forth. Now the buses are ugly, back and forth there. They also have to deal with outdated advertising. We'll have some examples of that. They don't get a choice in who advertises, as Ms. Pandak described, and it has left them a poor public impression. They've had multiple phone calls, complaints about some of the ads they've received. Their best success that they have had is advertising themselves. And a couple of good examples of that. This is, Joe went up on November 13th. Oh, yeah, there it is. The first picture you see is the home show from September 21st and 22nd, taken in November. You say, well, just make them come out and do it. No, because the vendor just doesn't. And they don't show up. You can say, well, you have liquidated damages in the contract. They will fight you on the liquidated damages of the contract. And still, even though you have liquidated damages, they're not going to sign the contract if they're increasingly high penalties. And then you still have the equipment on the vehicle. Car Free Day, which is an advertisement they did in partnership for September 23rd, same scenario. This is the Mike Slocum Law Firm. I'm sure he's an outstanding attorney. And if you have an accident, when you get off the bus, you get your accident statement, you just call him and sue Fairfax Connector. I can tell you a great story. I was in downtown Columbia. One of our buses hit another bus. We had one attorney who was advertising on the side of our bus, sued us 17 times. It was fantastic. But this is an example of Fairfax Connector. Bang for buck. Yes, it was glorious. There were 11 ambulances called. But examples of Fairfax Connector advertising their own services. This is what they're doing. They're taking out ads. And we did this as well when we launched our Sunday services in Eastern Prince William. We did this exact same thing in English and in Spanish. So we have this exact model, and this is what they're proudest of when they talk about some of the ad work they've done. And we've done this as well in some of our older fleet examples. We did some panels when we started our I-66 services, et cetera. But this is what they're proudest of, and this is what's been most successful for them. These are examples from my own personal photo collection. These were our most common types of ads. These are just what are called king or queen ads. It's just the length. Sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're not. Most of the time, they're just this big. And that's all they are. We don't get a lot of heavy advertising. We don't have a downtown. So it's as much as they can advertise above the Jersey wall on I-95 or I-66 as a bus goes by at 65 miles an hour. That's all they want to advertise. What's the blur that can be seen? Or you might want to advertise as we meander through a little bit of DC. If they want to advertise in DC, they call WMATA. That's the marketplace. Other examples, again, the radio station with the model, going back. You guys all have seen the Duluth Trading Company Buck Naked guy. That was on our buses for quite a while, very exciting. We had lots of complaints about the Dove underwear campaign. Lots of women in bras and underwear for a 2005, 2008 era. Lots and lots of complaints about that. We've had issues with the Prince William Fair. Again, the vendor does not come out, so it's Christmas time for the fair, which occurs.
From the women.
We have health and STD prevention, which we've had complaints about. Yes, those are all important issues, but people sometimes don't like to see those types of ads and those, so injury attorneys, that is what we end up with. Next slide. But I think this tells a fantastic story about us and placemaking and our image. This is our before and our after. The first bus we wrapped was right around Veterans Day, November 2018. And it was a game changer. It was a jaw dropper. And this is the kind of thing that changed the image of how our customers saw our service. This is our only billboard. These are 45 feet long. And if you are a commuter in downtown DC and you see that giant swirl, and then you're driving on I-95 and you see that giant swirl, and if you're in Stafford, Spotsylvania, Dale City, anywhere, and you see that swirl, you go, oh, I need to Google something. And that is how we get a lot of our passengers. They call us and say, I keep seeing this bus. The number of people that I talk to in Washington, DC, and I say I work for OmniRide. What's OmniRide? Those giant blue and green buses with the swirl. Oh, I see those everywhere. That is our identity and that is our brand. And we cannot replace that, even in our local service. And the example is we are booming. We are having ridership and it is fantastic. And no matter how hard we try, for us to buy one billboard would be more expensive than what we would generate. You see what advertising rates are in the DC market. And so we're able to do stuff. Althea does a fantastic job with digital advertising. We do mailers. We're trying to capture those passengers. But for what we would spend to buy billboards in DC, and they're not even allowed on I-95 and 66, but to capture that marketplace, that's the only place that we can afford to advertise, that and our bus stop signs. So great placemaking, great for the community. And so that's one of the reasons that we've really just not included with our new brand advertising as part of our program. So it just gives you a snapshot and a sense of where we are. So defer back to Phil to kind of go over the recap.
Just quickly, these slides were already included in here, but again, just wanted to highlight that, you know, we are coming in for our jurisdictional requests, you know, lower than our baseline figures, lower than what the last fiscal year was. We're able to restore some trips on a couple of our existing routes. The budget does not include the local fare or the bus advertising events. Now, more to come. And sort of the next steps here, you know, we're asking today to have approval to forward this, which will come in a package of documents that go to all the jurisdictions. We're asking the commission to approve forwarding this to the jurisdictions so then we can really begin all the discussions on how we will balance the budget. Between now and April, we'll work with all the, you know, the commission and the jurisdictional staffs on finalizing a budget proposal. We will have our public hearings hopefully in May. And then we will bring a final budget for approval here in June, hopefully, depending on how everything shakes out. And then the new fiscal year will start on July 1st. So that's kind of just a recap of the process here. And, you know, I look forward to working with everybody moving forward. Also, just want to, again, one last time, I want to thank the budget committee. Again, very, very helpful having people to work with and getting input. And every one of the presentations we've done has included input from members of the commission that served on that committee. So again, I really appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you, Bill. Before we get into some motions, let me just say this is outstanding. This is the first time we've had this budget presentation. I know you've gone around, you've worked with every jurisdiction and every commissioner. So I just thank you for investing and really putting this all together as thoroughly as you all have done. So I'm going to open this up for any questions, comments. Anyone else? Commissioner Gary?
So I was on the budget committee, some of that I wasn't able to attend right away, but what I was able to attend was very clear that you all did very thorough work. And so a lot of this is obviously not new to me, but I just wanted to say thank you all again for the work that was done. It was very thorough, and I hope everyone feels like they've got the information they need. I sure do.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? No. No? Okay, all right, so what we have before is 3 action items. Online, Commissioner Thomas, Commissioner Frazier, any questions, comments?
None for me.
Okay, thank you. So what I want to do is bundle these 3 action items. I'm going to read them to you. The first is, of course, to authorize to refer the PRTC Commission proposed 2026 budget to member jurisdictions for consideration and to hold public hearings on the proposed budget and the federal grant applications. The second one is to authorize PRTC Executive Director to apply for and accept funding for the 26-27 I-395 community choice projects and endorse management's prioritization of projects. And the third is approval of the service and fair equity analysis for OmniRide service and fare changes phase 2. You all should have all of this in your inboxes. So can I get a motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Bodie.
Second.
I have a second, Commissioner Holmes. Any discussion? Yes.
Just wanted to again echo my colleagues. I was on the budget committee as well. Appreciate all the work that was done. I also appreciate, and I've said this ad nauseum in the actual committee meetings, not only showing us what happens if we don't fund it, and if we do, what those enhancement opportunities are. So again, we can talk about them on our jurisdictions, and frankly, also talk to our constituents about what is possible, because I think that's important too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else online? Any comments?
All good.
Okay, all right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And going online, Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Frazier.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Okay, getting into my comments. So we need to put together an election of nominating committee for PRTC for 25 officers, 2025 officers, and the BRE Operations Board 2025 member appointments. So I need to ask for one person from each jurisdiction that wants to be on the nominating committee. Staffers already volunteered. We got Commissioner Gary. Okay. We've got Commissioner Franklin. Okay.
I'll do it and pass it to whomever is the lucky soul.
All right, look at there. Okay, so we're writing these down. So every other, I need some.
I'm the only one you got, so you're gonna take me for now.
And I guess we're gonna probably, your.
You're the only one.
Your
Your
replacement.
replacement will be,
Yes.
And what is his name again?
Daryl Moore.
Daryl Moore from,
Manassas
Manassas Park. Who am I missing?
Pennsylvania?
Yes.
I will be on the committee, but I will pass that torch of chairing the committee to someone else this year.
All right, because we do need to figure that out too. Who wants to chair?
Well, I guess we can figure it out.
Well, first of all, do I have all the jurisdictions represented?
Yes. Yes, we have Commissioner Holmes, Commissioner Gary, Commissioner Franklin, Commissioner Sebesky, Commissioner Moore, and Commissioner Frazier.
Mr. Chair, I move that Monica Gary chair.
Chair, okay. I don't hear any.
Need a second, people.
So. Okay. So that means that Commissioner Gary will
She'll just
work with
report out.
Christine in December, the nominating committee, so she will get with you and you guys will make that magic happen. Now to our more somber piece. We have 3 action items. I'm gonna read them to you and then we're gonna get into a little ceremonies for our departing commissioners. So the first is approval of the 2025 PRTC Commissioners Legislative Agenda. I can bundle these, so I'm gonna read these 3 together. The second is an expression of appreciation for services rendered by Manassas Park Mayor Jeanette Rishel. And the third is expression of appreciation for services rendered by Manassas Vice Mayor Pamela Sebesky.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion, Commissioner Bodie, second, Commissioner Gary. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Frazier. Frazier, there you go.
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so the ayes have it. Now I guess we just get into some good stuff. Yes. Get into good stuff. Get into some good stuff.
Goodie bags.
Yes. Let's stand up and take some pictures, people.
All right, so I guess we'll do this alphabetically.
Yeah.
And we'll get some pictures.
Yeah. So if y'all want to just stand up over here by the flag, we'll just kind of take a picture with y'all holding on flag.
Do you want to do them separately? If you want us together, I'm good with either way. You want separate?
It doesn't matter to me.
All right, let's do it
Just
together, girl.
Photoshop it out. Do it together, y'all.
Edit it out.
Yeah, Photoshop it out.
Now, y'all are the honorees. Mary.
Okay, thank you.
Tammy, thank
That's
you.
right. That's good.
Make sure you crop that out.
You want to say anything? We'll start with you first. You wanna-
No, she's been here longer than me.
Yes, ma'am, okay. And mind you, both of you, 2017, right? On the board?
She was here longer.
No, I've been here for 8 years, whatever
Okay.
whatever the math worked out to be.
2017, yeah, that's 2017 then.
You know, I'm gonna miss the PRTC. I really enjoy working with every single one of you, both staff and commissioners. It's been a real joy. In fact, I've always enjoyed thinking and talking about infrastructure, transportation, things of that nature. And I enjoy representing the city on all the transportation orgs that I go to. So y'all are wonderful. Thank you.
Kind of a bittersweet time for me. I am, 8 years ago, I came and didn't really know anything about any of this, and walking away now a lot more knowledgeable. I very much have enjoyed working with staff and all the various commissioners over the 8 years of service from the different jurisdictions. But really, when we work regionally, we accomplish a lot of things, and so it has been my pleasure, my honor, and I will pass this torch on to the next person from the city of Manassas, and I know you all will continue to do great work here. So thank you to the great staff and to all the communities that had the privilege and honor to work with over the last 8 years.
Can I just ask Dr. Bob if he lowered that one way, because I take the picture with saying one way right up there. Thank you. There's only one way we pay them, but.
Wonder why that's. So since we're now to commissioner side, but I'm gonna start right with you. If you wanna say anything else, then we'll just go around.
Greater Manassas Christmas Parade, 78th annual, 10 o'clock on Saturday morning in the freezing cold. Please come out and freeze with me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate and thank Mayor Richel and Ms. Sabesky for their time on the commission. I started off, I don't even know how many years ago, as a citizen appointment. And Mayor Richel was one of the first people I kind of sought out in terms of mentorship. And she kind of taught me how to view the world of bus transportation. And we've been very close ever since. So I really appreciate all that. I remember, I'll just say this, I was running for office the very first time and I had a transportation event and like 3 people showed up and she was one of them. I was like, I don't know how well this is going, but the rest is history. So thank you for your support. And I served as chair with Pamela Sabesky as my vice chair. And what I realize now is that she was the good cop and I was the bad cop. And I don't know if that's how it was supposed to be, but I appreciate our relationship because it deepened as a result of that partnership. And even now we still call each other and say, hey, what's going on with this? And what do you think about that? So I'm going to miss you all very dearly. Because you all were some of the people that I relied heavily on to make sure that I understood, what was going on in transit. So thank you so much for your service.
In the interest of time, I'll just say largely ditto. to that. But both of you have been mentors to a bunch of us for many years before, during our time as elected officials in here on PRTC. So thank you for that service as well. But also, again, thank you for your years of service to your communities and to the greater Manassas Prince William community as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you for obviously what you've done to serve in your community and also PRTC, but also for your presence, the both of you. Will definitely be missed. So just wanted to say that. We also have a Christmas event going on tomorrow evening in Stafford County. It begins at 6 p.m. At the Government Center and in the whole parking lot there. It's been really wonderful and growing for a few years now. So if you have some time, definitely come on out and enjoy time with us.
I would like to echo just thanking both of you, but for me, Ms. Sebeski, when I started on this commission, I was brand new to city council and I came to my first meeting and it was so nice to see a familiar face from school board days. So I very much appreciate the warm greeting and sharing this commission with you. Also, if you're not cold enough or if you miss the 10 o'clock Manassas City Christmas Parade, Fredericksburg has a great Christmas parade at 5:30. And it's about as cute and small town as you can imagine, but lots of people come out and I encourage you to as well.
Yeah, I would just say I've been at DRPT now about 10 years, and in addition to this board, I serve on MBTA some, and I've also attended BRE as a Commonwealth representative, so enjoyed certainly working with both of you on all three of these boards. Last month, I did announce that DRPT has a new director, Tiffany Robinson. She indeed did start as on schedule, so she is now in place. And she will be at the ribbon cutting on Wednesday for the 2 new I-66 routes if you'd like to be here.
What are we praising? We're praising Pamela. Look, I'm an alternate. I just came to fellowship with you all today because my colleagues didn't need me most of the year this year. So I just thought I would show up, but we share a great name.
Yes, we do.
Right? All right, but that's not my first name. That's my second. That's my middle name, but yes, I'll pass it on.
I was add my thank yous to both Jeanette and Pamela. I attended Jeanette's first swearing, and one of my first pictures I was elected, locally elected official. Jeremy also was one of the first. And the parade, so to my pipe and Victor, everybody's invited, but you may find a unique use of a fire truck at this parade. So
yes.
Come see us.
I'll also echo, it's been great to serve not only on this commission, but Manassas Park and Manassas over the last decade with both of you in different roles and the collaboration within the region. It's been especially with you. So thank you.
All right, echoing everyone else. And Pam, I didn't really get a chance to know you a whole lot, but thank you for all the service that you gave. And Miss Rochelle, thank you for your friendship over the years. And then also, if you don't have anything to do next Saturday,
oh my God,
talking about parades, Dumfries Parade, it's been getting better and better. So look for a great parade. So come on out and then happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you. How do I get out? And I didn't have time pass.
Good point. I was gonna say, customer experience is Supervisor Franklin in that when I got elected, one, I was unknown, but I'm also very reserved and I tend to keep to myself. And so when I got here, it was a deer in headlights because of my board just was like, go in this commission and I was like, well, I don't know anything. I don't even know, the only knowledge of buses and trains from being from New York. And I didn't know anyone in the region. And so my first set of home and comfort was Pam and Janelle and Margaret and Victor and gave me a sense of family and being comfortable and understanding the process and being what it means to be an elected official and teaching me the ropes. And so Thank you guys for your service. Jeanette is always smiling, you know, and was always listening, and Pam was always the motherly type to keep us, so I am gonna miss seeing their faces. And, you know, but Manassas Park, Manassas City, have had two great servants, and on behalf of Stafford County and our board, we wish you the best in your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Manassas Park is having its light parade this coming Saturday.
Oh, I got lots of parades.
The light, no, but ours starts at 5 p.m. Sharp at 5 p.m. It begins at Costello Park and comes to the City Hall, and then there are plenty of events happening at City Hall. And yes, we will yet again be upsetting drivers by stopping traffic on Route 28. But it'll be fun.
Commissioner Thomas.
Just congratulations to Mayor Rochelle and Vice Mayor Sebeski. Have a happy holiday.
Awesome. Thanks. Commissioner Frazier.
Yes, thank you, Chair Angry. To Mayor Rochelle, thank you for being such a powerful, quiet voice at our meetings. Your presence taught us a lot, and taught us how to, I don't know if you realize, and you probably do, that your voice is loud but silent and quiet, and you challenge us to think things differently. And Mayor Vice Mayor Sebeski, I'm sorry. Every committee that I've been nominated for, thank you for nominating me for those committees. It has helped me to grow tremendously, and I wish you well in the future. And Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I get the privilege of being the executive director for these fine elected leaders and outstanding women. So I'm a student of history, and when George Washington passed the torch to John Adams, he famously said, "I am fairly out, you are fairly in, we'll see which is the happiest." Think who you might be next, but you're out of office, someone else is in your seat, so we will find out. But what's interesting is when I came to the commission, also in 2017, just a few months after you did, it was the makeup of the commission had John Jenkins, who had been on Prince William County Board of Supervisors for 32 years, I think, at the time.
Okay, at the time. Yeah,
at the time,
37 total.
37 total. So when you you had Maureen Cadigan, you had people who had been like 150 years of people serving on the board, institutions.
Yeah.
And now, in January, I'm the longest serving person that's sitting around this table. And so it's just interesting how in that turnover of membership and leadership, et cetera. And so it's an interesting experience to look around and see. I'm not a voting member, but in terms of who sits at the table, I'm suddenly the dean. And it's an interesting thing as someone who still sees myself as the young person who's still trying to do new things, who's experiencing new things and growing as a leader, but we still see new and fresh faces. And so starting in January, we have new board members to onboard and teach and grow, and I have experiences. And so I'm looking forward, even though I've met Mr. Moore and whether it's Mr. Smith, et cetera, but still we have a whole new board that starts in January when we have new blood. And it's always exciting for me. So while we will miss you, I look forward to working with
New people.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah. I will simply say, I'll be real quick because we're gonna get out of here. I will simply say institutional knowledge, right? So these are really the last two of the old guards, if you will, to your point. But I'm just gonna say congratulations, enjoy.
Old guard.
Well, you know.
Walk into it.
The old guards, because that's the knowledge. So I hope that each of us has taken some part of that knowledge from them going forward. And I just really want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This is our end of year meeting, so be safe out there. And Happy New Year. We'll put it at that. So With that.
Second.
We have motion adjourned, properly seconded, all in favor? Online, got my chicken eye online.
Hi.
Thank you. Good night.
I saw her mouth move, Kenny. I interpreted. Hey, I should have been, I made her cry. Yeah. I know.
$5 bet.
Yeah.
Wait, meeting.
I'm over it now. I'm over it now.